ಅನುದಿನ ಅನುಕ್ಷಣ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲೂ ಕಲಿಯೋಣ ಕಲಿಕೆಯ ಹೊಸ ಹಾದಿಯಲಿ ಜೊತೆಗೂಡಿ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಯ ಹಾಕೋಣ ಸಂತಸದಿ ಕಲಿಯೋಣ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆಯ ಈ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ.
Yes, sir. Yes, teacher. Present, ma'am.
Hello kids, welcome back to the 4th unit of 8th standard 2nd language English class. The unit contains one prose and one poetry, and this is the first session of the prose, The Boy Who Asked for More, written by Charles Dickens. So, once again welcome back kids. Now, I think that it is good to have a game before we start up the class. What do you say? Yes, you too want to play something, right? So, why don't we play something which helps us enhance our vocabulary, the word power? Yes, I have a game for you, and that is crossword. Let us have some fun with crossword kids. It is the much more joy of enhancing our knowledge. Crossword is nothing but padabandha. So, there will be clues and you need to resolve or identify the words using the clues and fit it into its place like this. Children, clues would help you to resolve crossword. Would you like to know how? Here are some clues given as you see. Across is like this. 1, across is your left to right, and down is 1 up to down. So, clues are to fill these boxes. Children, there are two segments of clues that are given here. One is across, one is down. So, across one number says this creature flies and chirps. It has 4 letters in it. How do we know it has 4 letters in it? Because there is a number given in the bracket. That number suggests the number of letters that the word has. So, you need to go finding a creature that has 4 letters and flies and chirps. Coming to the second one, waste is also called dash. So, what is waste called? You have to find the synonym of it. Waste is also called in 3 letters with some word. I have given it number 3 because across 3 is down there. You can find it in the box. Coming to down, first clue says we study using this, and it has 4 letters. We study using many things, but there is one thing that has 4 letters in it, and you need to find out what is it. There is already one letter that you have got by filling up across one. So, you need to get 3 more letters to fill it. Next one, animal famous for running fast. This is down 2. Down 2 segment, you know where it is, and there are 4 letters in it. And which is the animal that runs fast? Think over it. All animals do run fast, everybody knows, but there is one particular animal that is famous for running. So, which is that famous for running animal which has 4 letters in it? So, these clues are interlinked children, because if you find one word, you will get clue for the other word. So, end of the class, you need to have your answers to check with the answers that I give. And if you have any other word found out, that is well and fine kids. I appreciate your efforts. So, let us pass on to the lesson now. Children, you know the lesson The Boy Who Asked for More is written by Charles Dickens, and we need to know some information regarding the writer also. He, Charles John Ephraim Dickens, was born on 7th February 1812 in Hampshire, England. He is one of the greatest novelists of Victorian era. Of course, Charles Dickens was one of the famous novelists and short story writer of Victorian age. You must be thinking, what is Victorian age? Victorian age is the timeline when the United Kingdom was ruled by Queen Victoria, that is almost 1837 to 1900. So, Charles Dickens also lived in the same timeline. So, he is recognized in that era, Victorian era. He wrote nearly 15 novels, 5 novellas and innumerous short stories. So, this is all about his work, and I have listed down some important works of Charles Dickens for your information. There are many more that can be learnt later or on your own. So, some of the names are like this: The Pickwick Papers, Great Expectation, Oliver Twist, David Copperfield, Bleak House, Little Dorrit, A Christmas Carol, A Tale of Two Cities. It is a play, that means a drama. Some of his novels and plays had been movies also. He died on 9 June 1870 at the age of 58 and was buried in the Poets' Corner of Westminster Abbey. There is a place where only poets and writers have been buried after the death in Westminster Abbey, and very first poet to be buried over there was Chaucer, the first modern English poet. So, there itself even Charles Dickens was buried after his death. Kids, here are some terms I have brought for you because I have used some terms while introducing Charles Dickens. I used novel and novella, and both of them are not same. Novel, novella, novelette and a short story. You must be wondering what is the difference between these four. Novel is a very big book of stories, usually containing 40,000 words to 1 lakh words. 40,000 to 1 lakh word is the normal limit of a novel. Novella is a shorter than that, where around 20,000 to 40,000 words are used, and this is an approximation of words used in a book. It needs not to be compulsorily such many words to be there, but normally it is said if a book has 20,000 to 40,000 words, that is a novella, kind of short novel. Novel is Kadambari, novella can be called as a Kiru Kadambari. Kiru Kadambari andre Kadambariya hage inna adakkinta ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಚಿಕ್ಕದು. Novelette is the one which is shorter than novella but bigger than a short story. It may contain about 8,000 word to 20,000 words in it. So, usual normal limit of a novelette is 8,000 word to 20,000 words. A short story, you know what is a short story? Sanna kategalu, usually within 2 to 3 pages, and we read it off in one shot very easily. That is less than 7,000 words in it. This is just for your information. Now, coming to the text. This was Dickens' second novel, written between 1837 and 1839 as a series and later published in 3 volumes. Oliver Twist is the name of the protagonist of the novel. He was a parish boy who, being an orphan, brought up in a poor house, that is workhouse. The story is around incidents in Oliver's life, and the present prose is the excerpt from the novel. Kids, it is the story about a boy called Oliver Twist and his life. How does it run and what are the consequences that he faces? So, now reading time. Reading is joy. Let us read the lesson aloud with Tweety. Yeah, she is there. Don't you think that it is happy to study aloud with your textbook? Children, let us read the lesson aloud. Oliver was born in a poor house of a little country town on a cold black night in the winter of 1837. The birth was attended by a doctor who was hastily called for the purpose by an old pauper woman who was experienced in such matters. The mother died almost as soon as the baby took his first breath. She was a young, good-looking woman who had been found lying in the streets. It was clear that she had walked some distance before she died. Her shoes had been torn to pieces. Where she had come from or where she had been going, nobody knew. The baby cried loudly. If he could have known that he was now an orphan of a poor house, it is likely that he would have cried still louder. They called him Oliver Twist, a name invented by Mr. Bumble, the town beadle, because he could not think of any other. Mr. Bumble had full authority over the couple of poor house. He thought himself a very great man indeed. He starved and ill-treated the children under his care. Oliver's 9th birthday found him a pale, thin child who had hardly known a kind word or met with a kind look. His only friends were his little companions in misery. But in the end, they brought him a trouble. They persuaded him to ask for more. How many words today? Aren't you learning very new words through your lessons every day, kids? So, today also you have encountered some new words while reading text, right? So, shall we see what are the new words? Picking some from the text. There was a word purpose. Purpose can be called uddesha in Kannada. So, what is the meaning of it? Does picture suggest you something? What is purpose? Yes, of course, you are right. Purpose is the aim or intention to perform some act. If you are performing some act, there is a sentence that matches and easing you to understand the word how to be used in a sentence. One must set a goal with a genuine purpose. So, if you are doing something, question yourself, why are you doing it? So, your answer should be the purpose. Here is a second word, pauper woman, a poor lady. So, example sentence for you is, the pauper woman worked hard to earn money. Here comes your another word, orphan. So, what is orphan? Is anatha, one who doesn't have parents, a child whose parents are dead. So, this is how it can be used in a sentence. Sanjay is an orphan and was taken care by maid servant. So, we are moving on to the next word, that is invent. Avishkara, kandu hidiyodu. So, does this picture suggest you something? Can you make out the meaning? To originate or create one's own product. Children, there are two similar words always used together, that is invention as well as discover. Here is a sentence that suggests us how the word invent can be used. Thomas Alva Edison invented the electric lamp. The next word is beadle. Who comes to your mind as soon you listen to the word beadle? Is there any picture in your mind like this? Did you encounter somebody like this while reading lesson? Yeah, can you make out who is this? Yes, it is Mr. Bumble, and beadle is nothing but an officer appointed by church. Church authorities used to appoint an officer to look after poor houses. So, beadle is one such officer. The beadle named Oliver since he was the caretaker of the poor house. Next word comes authority. Authority is adhikara. Adhikara chalaisuvudu athava obbaralli adhikara iruvudu. The power or right to give orders, meaning is one who can order somebody something. So, your sentence can be like this using the same word. The principal is the ultimate authority of the school. So, we all, when we are in school, will listen to whatever our principal sir says. So, next word comes companion, odanadi athava jotegara, jotegarti. Children, we have a picture here. Don't you love this puppy? Of course, all of us love puppy a lot, and it's a very good companion of us. So, companion is accompany, being with each other. So, our sentence can be like this: Munna, the puppy, is a good companion of Rajan. So, I move on to the next word now, that is pursued, manavolisu. That's how you are going to talk to your friend to pursue him to do some work. Don't you do that in school? Induce someone to do a desired action. So, with a purpose and desired action should happen, and you pursue people for it. Example, Raghav persuaded Jino to attend the meeting without fail. So, now children, we have come to the stage to understand the prose part that we read previously. there are some points that you need to have more focus on while studying. What comes to your mind when you see this picture? Oliver was born in a poor house in a cold black night. It was night and it was cold and dark. It was winter and there was no one except a pauper woman. Oliver's mother, when she was about to deliver her baby, there was no one around her but a pauper woman. The doctor couldn't help the birth, so Oliver's mother dies immediate after the birth of the child. The pauper woman tries to take help of a doctor, but unluckily by the time doctor reaches the poor house, the baby was delivered and mother was dead. Coming to the next part, there are evidences like torn shoes that say the mother of the baby had walked a long distance before giving birth. While mother of Oliver came to the place, she was a stranger. She had no one who is known to her in that place. So, she was totally unknown to the place. She comes from somewhere else to that. The evidence is her torn shoes. Harido hoda chappaligalu. Savedu hoda chappaligalu. That means she had come a long way walking to that place. Oliver was crying aloud when he was born, as though he knew he has become an orphan. There was no traces of child's father. Nobody knew that who is Oliver's father. So, he was crying aloud. That means joragi aluvudu. He was crying so loud that he has got to know that he has been orphaned. Avanige yaru illa anta avanige gottadashtu alta idda. Mr. Bumble, the beadle, named him Oliver. He was authoritative and cruel. Since he got no other name in his mind, Mr. Bumble named him Oliver Twist because he could not think of any other name. So, that was Oliver Twist and he was named Oliver Twist. There were many kids in the poor house along with Oliver also who were probably orphans and had a distant cruel behavior. Oliver's thin pale looks and his poor companions. There were many kids, as I told you, along with Oliver, and they were also brought up like Oliver only. And Oliver, on his 9th birthday, he was looked very pale and thin. The last part is the trouble that they brought to Oliver eventually. Who are they here? They are none other than the friends of Oliver, the companions of Oliver, who were also poor and probable orphans like him. So, what did they do at the end? They were usually having some food. The quantity of the food was not enough for the kids. So, what they suggested Oliver is to go and ask for more, because none of them had courage to go and ask Mr. Beadle for more food. If asked, they will be beaten, they will be scolded. So, all of the kids were very afraid of going to him and asking for more food. And whom did they choose? They chose Oliver to go and ask. Now, we have come to the part where we have some activities to learn and enjoy. How does a verb change into a noun? Today we are going to learn how verb changes into a noun. Yes, we are modifying the same by adding some suffix to it, and hopefully you remember we have learned suffix and prefix already throughout our preparatory classes and as well in the chapters. So, you must be knowing it well. So, I do not explain them. Let us look at the example. How we are changing an action word into a naming word is nothing but adding a suffix to it. Meant is the suffix where move joins with it and makes it the noun. So, verb turns into noun. There are some more examples to understand the concept well, and here is the second word for you, refreshment. Refresh is the verb and ment joins with it and makes it refreshment. So, this is a naming word now. Some more examples for your better understanding, kids. State, statement, announce, announcement, equip, equipment, and so on. So, here is a girl suggesting you something. Shall we see what is it? Hi friends, look at these words. She says, she has brought some words for you kids, and can you identify what are they? Just can you go reading them? Increment, acclement, cement, filament, and ligament. And what have I written above it is exceptions. So, we saw many words turning from verb to noun in the previous slide, right. So, here also some words that are bearing ment with them. Can we say that these are also verbs turned into nouns? No kids, these are exceptions. Exceptions are words that are coming with ment along with them. You cannot add, you cannot remove. So, this is the difference you must know while considering the words which got ment with them. So, will you note down this example, because you will have exercises after the lesson to perform based on this. So, here is the time now to check your comprehension. Let us check the questions. Where was Oliver born? So, can you guess the answer looking at the picture and relating it to the previous slides? Yes, your answer is right. Oliver was born in a poor house. Second question comes for you. When did Oliver's mother die? Oliver's mother died almost as soon as the baby took his first breath. First breath is modala usiru. Let us move on to the next question. Who named the boy Oliver? This is a very clear answer that you know. I know this very well, but also I have a picture to help you with this. Do you remember this person? Who is this? Mr. Bumble, the beadle of the poor house, named the boy Oliver. We are moving to the next question, kids. Hope all of you are doing well with the right answers. How was Oliver on his 9th birthday? Just before a few seconds we discussed how was Oliver on his 9th birthday when he was 9 years old. Was he very plumpy and healthy and good looking guy? No, he wasn't. So, your answer is Oliver's 9th birthday found him a pale, thin child who had hardly known a kind word or met with a kind look. He never have experienced love and care in his life. He faced many difficulties as a kid. Kids, here are the shapes that are suggesting you something with the words. Can you make out what are they? Yes, this hexagon has brought something very new for you. So, now this is listening time to you. So, I hope your ears are open to listen. So, I take up the yellow hexagon first and I pronounce these words. We are going to do nothing else than pronouncing words and you need to listen to them. Alone, aloof, abide, afar, again, acute. So, now the words starting with the same letter, but I am pronouncing them in a different way. Can you get that? Acroat, ash, ant, apple, add and act. Don't you find some difference in pronunciation? Of course, they are starting with the same letter, but while pronouncing they have a different sounds. So, what do you need to concentrate is on sounds. We call it alone, but we say this as acroat. A and a sounds are different from each other. So, how do we know this? It has a symbol and you are watching something in the middle now. Just keep on looking what comes here and there also. Oh yes, there is a round. What comes there? Yes, this is the symbol to represent the pronunciation. Kids, take a minute to look at them. So, have you noted down? Shall we move on now? Wow, there are two girls and what are they doing there? There is something that is happening between them. What is it? Oh, what does the title suggest? It says how to expand into a paragraph. Amanda playing with friends fell down, scratched her hand. Mom came, scolded. Amanda cried. Her friend Sophia consoled. Kids, this is nothing but the clue given to you to develop this into a paragraph. So, these are the hint words. So, this is a very interesting and small exercise for you to enhance your sentence making ability. Look at this story of little Amanda. Let us title it as story of little Amanda. The girl looking like this, and now what have I done? Look at previous slide. I have used these words and made sentences out of the words given there. Amanda was playing around with her friends. Suddenly she fell down on the ground. Her hands were scratched and leg was injured. Amanda's mother came to see her because Amanda was yelling with pain. Watching her hand scratched, mother started scolding her. Amanda was in tears. She could not stop crying. Sophia, a little friend, consoled her finally. Look at this. You have sentences out of the points given, and what more can be done? So, how are we putting all sentence together and making it a paragraph? Look at this. One day, little Amanda was playing in the ground with her friends. Suddenly, she fell on the ground since one of her friends pushed her to the ground. As a result, her hands were scratched and the leg was injured. Amanda was not able to control and started weeping. Listening to this, Amanda's mother rushed into the ground to find little Amanda crying. Mother scolded her for her stupid mischief and went home off. Amanda started crying. No one else but Sophia, the little friend of Amanda, did console her. Eventually, Amanda could forget her pain and smile once again. Amanda and Sophia were good friends henceforth. This is a wonderful language game that you can play and learn more of making proper sentences. Let us move on now. Oh, here are Tweety and Weety. What are they doing? What did they bring? Let us see. Yeah, they have brought one more palette of practice for you. There are some words. What are you going to do with these words? I want you to note down all this in your notebook. So, now these words are action words, converting them into noun. So, hopefully you remember what is the suffix you are adding to it. Continuing on this, list out your own words of the sounds introduced. There were two hexagons that we studied with the sound. Do you remember them? A and a sounds. Refer your textbook, you will get lot of words. Just list them matching with their sounds. That's it. Try, learn and enjoy. Just now we read the story of Amanda and Sophia. This is a very relative example and exercise for you to develop into a story. Kids, you have a few minutes to copy this and develop into a paragraph. I hope you can do it. And some more to think and answer. As a last part of this class, kids, I have some questions for which you need to think, refer text and write your answers. Can you note down? Who were present when Oliver was born? Is the first question. Second one, pick out the sentence that says Oliver's mother walked a long distance. What was the trouble brought by his friends to Oliver? And last question is, why did Oliver look pale and thin? There is a reason, no, that why he was very pale and thin, unlike the boys of his age. So, kids, hereby almost we have come to the end of today's class and time to get your answers for the crossword. Do you remember I made you to note down crossword in the beginning and they had some clues also with them, and now this is the time to know answers for them. And answer for down is the material that is used to read is book. It has 4 letters in it as I told you before. Deer. Deer is the animal which runs faster though other animals do run fast. This is known for its run. Chipping and flying creature around us is who? Bird, obviously, cannot be any animal. So, the waste is called, I asked you for the synonym of the waste. What is it? Waste product is also called rag. So, this is your answer. I hope you are noting it down. Fantastic, kids. It is very nice being with you with the lesson, and we shall meet in the next class with the second session of the same lesson. Please be prepared and please perform exercises that are assigned to you. Apart from that, your text in page number 6 has got a QR code above it. By scanning it on Diksha app, which you will get more activities to perform. Hope all of you will enjoy it. So, take care, be at home, be safe. We shall meet in the next class. Good day.
Anudina, Anushana, Maniyallu Kaliyona, Kalikeya Hosa Hadiya.